you let your kid suck your nipple, okay? All right? It's for him to grow. And coincidentally, your nipples grow as well. Okay? It's the process.
I don't.
Okay, it's the process. I can't relate. I can't relate. All right? If you're watching this, if you hate my comment, stop watching. Okay? And once again, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Yam Cha session. Today, as you can see, the day is still the same day, 22nd March, and it's on Friday night. The time right now is 10:18 in the evening, morning, or wherever you are today. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And today we are once again joined by the two infamous, the legendary individuals. Right here we have MJ Ghani. He has just finished his book. It'll be published.
No, I haven't finished yet.
Haven't finished yet, but it's coming soon. All right. So we have the author of a famous book. What would your name be?
Actually, I don't even know the name yet.
It's coming soon. And right here, we also have the prodigy. If I'm not mistaken, he's running a YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel?
Yamcha Sessions.
Yeah, that is the way to go. Subscribe. And if you also need some help in terms of child education, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is the person you can search to.
A bit broad, but yeah.
A bit broad, you know? First you broaden the topic, then you go deeper. And then you have me. The brothers are not here today because the brothers are busy.
Hey, we're the new brothers, man.
We are the new brothers right here,
new
you know?
bros, man.
Correct.
Got Nick over there.
And for today, we'll be talking about a topic very sensitive. So I'm just going to put context here, okay? We'll be talking about a topic that we cannot relate and we can never get it, which is about pregnancy, okay?
People who cannot get pregnant giving opinions
People who cannot
about
get pregnant,
pregnancy.
giving opinion about pregnancy. But then again, we are also partially involved in that, you know?
Without us, there will be no pregnancy as well.
So before we go further, if you cannot take this topic, don't watch. Because if you were to comment anything after, then it's your fault. Okay? Warning has been given. If you cannot comment constructively as having a debate but want to put your point of opinion triumph above others, do not comment, do not watch. Alright? Other than that, I hope you enjoy the show.
All right.
Let's go lah. We'll pass the stage over to my boy right here, Vincent. Vincent, apa macam?
Okay, all right. We will be touching some topics about pregnancy, but to share some context, we are inspired by this content, by this Singaporean gamer who has created a video talking about why having children is not necessary. Now, of course, we're going to jump into some topics of pregnancy,
Correct.
but there are 4 parts that we'll be breaking down. So Nick, if you can pull it up to let people see what is that content.
Of course, we will show this. We'll put the link in the description so you can click and watch this lah.
So the content is that it's 3 months old, this video.
Correct. But we thought it's quite interesting for us to talk about it, seeing that we're trying to address, social issues that Malaysians are going through. And of course, a lot of us are probably at the stage of considering children, or someday where you're settling down and you want
And we
to...
will probably react to the comments as well.
Oh,
Correct.
I never realized that this video is December. I only saw it today.
So as you can tell, it's inspired by him.
Algo.
Okay, so let's break down the structure of today's episode. Basically, this Singaporean gamer by the name of Leon has covered a couple of points. The first part, she is talking about how not every person has the resources, capabilities, and suitable mentality to raise a children. Hence, that's why if you see the headline over here, it says having children is not necessary. Now, we're going to jump to other parts, but let's take it one step at a time. Let's talk about how not every person has the resources, capabilities, and that's why having children is not necessary. So boys, what are your take?
Children are necessity to continue the survival of humanity. Finish. End of discussion.
Okay, all right. I guess we'll start something simple. Then what do you think? What's your take, MJ?
So remind me of your questions. What do I think of her take on kids? Well, I think the important context is that she's Singaporean. So if you're Singaporean, it kind of makes sense why you don't want kids. Everything is expensive. And it's actually not just that. Because if it's just about keeping the kid alive, you can definitely do that in Singapore. But I think the add-on is the fact that it's a culture that compares a lot.
Oh yeah.
So when you get a kid, not only do you need to educate him or her, you need to give him this tuition, that tuition. He needs to learn the piano. He needs to, if he's a girl, try out ballet, try out certain sports. do a whole bunch of stuff, because if you don't do it, then you will feel like your children is gonna be left behind versus other kids, and then they might grow up resentful, like, wow, why did Joey get this but I didn't, mom, dad. So it's a very, very, I mean, it's a small place, it's like this high tech but tiny village that everybody kind of knows everybody and everybody's comparing. And so because of that, there'll be a natural gravitation to spend more than, I guess, what is functionally required to raise a kid.
So let's put it over to Malaysian context. Of course, Singaporean is comparing a lot. And from my observation, I think Malaysians, or rather should I say the city people like Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, who is, staying in more in the city, they are working on normal jobs. Do you think that they are catching up to that level of comparison that Singaporeans have, in the sense of like, I think if I send my kid to a school, it should be a better school?
Of course, I think you only want the best for your kid, right? So you probably do the very best to send your kid to the place where you believe that they can get the best lah. Private school, or maybe not private school, or just schools that will do a good job. I mean, if I'm a parent, I would definitely do that.
So, but the cost of that is too high, and that's why this argument, according to her, is that it's not worth it. So, do you guys agree with that? Just because of looking at costs, that all right?
I mean, I'm not sure what are her point stands and everything, where she's coming from, but I also want to say that she note that people may not agree with her statement. Okay, we're not bashing her whatsoever. But if I were to put myself in the shoe, right? If I have a kid, meaning to say I planned for a kid, so I already know the necessity that I need to take in order to raise a kid. If you have a kid and then suddenly you say, oh, a kid is so expensive whatsoever, that is probably a lack of research that you failed to do so. Of course, you can say research is just research and application is a different thing, right? But you already have research, you already mentally prepared for it. Then when the thing comes, then you know what to do. I mean, if you want to say, oh, where to get my research, brother, your mother is the perfect example of the research, bro. Because look where you are.
I don't you think that the research is kind of outdated?
Whatever it is, but unless of course this is a non-planned pregnancy, then there's a different story.
All right.
But
Yeah. I think cost is not high, expectation is high. Someone gave the best definition of inflation I heard a few years back. And they say that actually inflation is not what is reported online. It's not what your friend tells you it is. Your inflation rate is determined by your expectations and lifestyle.
Oh, okay. That's very true. I've been living frugally. So to me, actually, inflation hasn't really been affecting me.
haven't really hit me yet.
Yeah.
You see, right? I mean, if you use a math example, right? If you only spend 500 ringgit a month, a 40% increase means that now you have to fork out 200 extra. But if you're spending 2,000 a month, a 40% increase is 800 ringgit a month. You see what I mean? So I think that's where they're coming from. And I think in both KL and like you can say city center, expectations are high. What you want for your kids, that they should do this and they should do that. And interestingly, Malaysian Chinese people, I'm not sure about Indians, but Malaysian Chinese, who make up the majority of non-Malays, are having similar birth rates as Singapore. Some say even lower.
So we're having less kids nowadays.
Absolutely. Yeah.
God damn, bro.
Yeah.
I think something along the line of for every 2 Malaysian Chinese, there is 1 kid.
We're basically following the trajectory of every city's first world country, developing country.
Except the United States.
Isn't San Fran
The United States as a whole is the only developed country, I think, that has that is close to what they call replacement rate. So replacement rate is 2 lah. So for every married couple, they have 2 kids. So the kids 2 replace them. So
I
they call
see.
replacement rate. So like Singapore is like close to 1, Japan is really low, Malaysia, Chinese is about 1 or less actually. South Korea is very low.
Do you think it's because they just of expenses, or it's because of both parents are going to work?
Yeah.
So it's option 2, is it?
So actually, did you know that, I mean, assuming if you don't have parents to help take care of your kids, it's actually more expensive to
Raise a child.
raise a child with 2 working adults. I don't know if that makes sense.
Because you have to send the kid to foster care.
Yeah.
All
and
the
You
time.
need someone to take care.
And then you need to
even though you have dual
transport
income,
them.
yes, correct.
You know what? I'm going to play the devil right here, and I'm going to say that is why the man in the house should work fucking hard so that your wife can take care of the kids.
Yeah.
But then people will be like, whoa, I'm a housewife? Oh, chill lah.
I think, yeah. So that's where expectation comes in.
Yeah.
Right? So because now women don't just want to be a child bearer and a person raising
Nothing
children.
wrong with that, though. I think that's one of the...
Yeah, nothing
you
wrong.
know?
But then because many women do not want to have that as the only thing they want to do because they want work-life balance or whatever.
Hold up,
So they want a job.
I'm in a position where I feel like, hey, dual income is better, man.
I mean, dual income is good, but why would you want to work for someone?
I mean, like today's world, you gotta work for something.
You know,
I think
you gotta. You
Dual
have a choice.
income is better if what you both earn can outpace what the cost of outsourcing raising a kid is. Then it's better.
Yeah, so in today's world, I guess unless you're rich, you have to work hard. It's better to have 2 person working together, I guess.
I mean, if you put it in...
No, it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as that because most people who are earning dual income still do not earn enough.
That's true.
That's the thing.
But what I'm saying is that if 2 of them are not earning dual income, or one of it makes it even worse.
Then chances are, number one,
Well, it's a case by case, right?
So you're saying that the one who doesn't earn
Yeah.
takes care of the baby.
Yeah. So I mean, the ideal is for one to earn a big amount of money while the other one stays home and raise the kid.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm going to get
That
amazing
is the
comments lah.
ideal because, or a situation where I think something like what my parents did. Okay, just to share, right? My dad was in the corporate world, banks,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, my dad was in a corporate world, and then my mom was in a corporate world in the same bank. But then when she had me, she decided to step out of it, start a cafe slash bakery that is near my place, so that she can play both hats. So she had like the best of both worlds. So she could still earn an income, not more than definitely nowhere close to where she would if she stayed in the bank, but she gets to raise me as well. So she had the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
So it's like a 1.5.
Yeah. I agree. But linking back to what you're saying, like if you have like your grandparents taking care, then
Yeah, ideally.
ideally.
So in societies like developed societies where I would say parents get involved less, especially in the Western world. But I think increasingly in Asia as well. It's very difficult because it's not as easy as, well, if 2 people work, then we have enough money to raise a kid. No? I mean, if both you are very high earners, then maybe. Then it's okay. But then there's the second challenge, which is even if you did have the income, you are much less in control on the formation of the values of your kids because now you're outsourcing.
So they will learn the other values, like,
And
Who are you
sometimes it's not
outsourcing
that
to?
good, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, some people argue that they won't even outsource to the grandparents. So, we give the example.
Correct.
That's just purely on a financial basis. That, if the grandparents can take care, then we can net off the cost. But then there is the other downside of if the kids are under the grandparents raising, they may infuse whatever values that they have that you may not want to have.
I think this is where, like, if you are the parent of the kid and you know that you have your parents, your grandparents that's going to help take care of you, you must set some limit and set some guide. Because I come from a family where my mom is a babysitter for all her life. So I always have kids at my home. So you can see like how parents, the firstborn child, they will be very particular.
Yeah.
But second child, they kind of don't care anymore. Third child, it's like total freedom.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever, all this kind of stuff. So I think if you really want to control how your kid is being raised, but at the same time financially saved your costs, by letting your grandparents take care, and also let your father and mother bond with their grandkids, you should do something about it. You should like set some rules, set some guidance, help them to get to a stage. And I see that a lot of like new parents, they are not equipped with that.
It's
skill.
very lacking,
Yeah.
It's very lacking. I just want to put a pointer, okay? Like one of the main reasons why I really don't believe in outsourcing child management, I think I put it away, okay?
It's called raising, but okay.
Yeah, raising a child management, It's because I had a friend. This is live. So she sent her kids to kindergarten. All good. She also have like a nanny lah. Yeah. So when she finally she had the time to go pick up a kid lah. She was a working lady. Not that it's a bad thing lah. Okay, I'm going to state it right there. Right. So they went. The kid was running happily, and the kid hugged the nanny first.
Wow.
Happens.
Yeah. And then she immediately fired the nanny. And then she didn't really stop work lah, but she took time off to raise her kid well after that. And I believe that people do not see this often.
True.
Like
I see it all the time.
You outsource this, right? Number one, the way your childs are being, you see, if you compare with sending them to your grandparents, I know we are going further deeper than the conversation lah.
Correct.
I mean, but it's somehow relatable lah. But maybe we should go back to the source of it. Well, like, if you outsource to your grandparents, right? Your grandparents taught you, and you look at how you were raised up, so you're fine. But you outsource some other mother, right? Not saying that other mothers are not so good, other nannies whatsoever, but they have different values as well, and then it's going to be passed on to your kid. And if you were to see the current situation right now in society, man, the kids nowadays, I don't know about this, man. Like it's quite sus lah, and is this and it's just about the upbringing of your kids. Like I'm seeing kids nowadays, even at 6, 5 years old, already wearing glasses. How does that happen?
Oh, I can tell you how does that happen.
You tell me. Is that good parenting? That's terrible parenting. Your eyes are spoiled at a young age. When you are at your most fresh, your organs and everything are fantastic, given if you're born at best. Your eyes died.
I think
kids just think they can do whatever they want. I know kids, they don't really have the best rational thinking, but there to be a certain standard where they know they can go and cannot go. And I'm seeing terribleness. And I would strongly say this is just, again, you link back poor child management, poor parenting. Like if you want to have a kids, you need to think of how you want to raise your kids or whatsoever. You want to outsource to nanny. When you come back home, you check what the nanny do or what your kids has been taught. You need to assess. It's called parenting. If you are able to work so hard in your company, organization, you have your HR, you have your SOP and everything, you should be able to do the same for your kid as well. It's terrible, and I really say it's so bad nowadays outside looking. And
I only got one thing to say to your comment, and that's you sound like the perfect parent that's not going to exist as soon as you have your first child. But
let's
I
go lah.
it's time for us
Waiting for it
to move on. So anyways, Nick has flashed something. Before we move on to the next part, I guess it's good for us to point out that the cost of raising a kid in Malaysia is somewhere around like 400,000, if I'm not wrong. If you scroll back up,
Minimum 400
Yeah.
to 1.1 million.
400,000 to 1.1
This
million.
one is to what age?
It's I don't know, a child age. But I guess what I wanted to say is that I think everybody right now understand that the cost of living is very expensive. So shall we move on to other parts?
I mean, this cost of living, I saw some of the things they mentioned, like private school and everything lah. I mean, you can send them to SK, you can send them to SMK, you can send them to Tar College. Their fees are very affordable. You don't really need to send them to really well-known school because they are selling you the brand. But education elsewhere are also quite affordable lah. But anyways, yes.
Okay,
what
cool.
were we saying, MJ?
All
Vincent?
right, let's move on to beyond finances because everyone knows that things are expensive right now.
Correct.
So let's go on to the next part, which is let's go with mentality first. A suitable mentality to raise a child properly. So do you guys think that there's ever a time where you'll be ready and say, all right, my mentality is now ready for me to raise a kid? Or you think that to raise a kid, you can never be prepared for it? Your mentality is, you learn as you go. What's your
I
take?
would say that preparation for finances, no. Like, I would argue for most people, there will never be a point financially where they are ready. In fact, I think if you ask most fathers, first-time fathers, you ask them, hey, were you ready when you get a kid? Usually no. And I would say mentally, probably something similar. However, it's probably more important. All I would say is to ask yourself if you think you were raised well. I think the conversation is not as easy as no, never have kids. And it's not as easy as no, you need to have kids because of population growth. I think what is crucial is, were you raised well? In fact, I would say if you believe that you have a lot of trauma, you've gone through a lot of things and your life is a complete mess, then to put it bluntly, it might make sense for you to not produce another human being.
Hey, that's a good one.
Because you are then, sort of rolling on or giving birth to new sins, you can call it.
Correct. You're inflicting your trauma onto a new one, which is also what the Singaporean gamer Le En talks about as well. What do you think?
Like, basically, if you think if you genuinely think that you're not a good person, or you're pretty useless, or you have bad values and you've got bad habits, you're an addict, drug addict or whatever, and you say because of this, it's a very sad thing, but if on this basis you say I don't have kids, then I think it makes sense.
Mentality wise, I would say you can be prepared for it, but when it happens, you're definitely not ready for it.
I think the people who are ready to become a parent is when they found out, oh no, you're pregnant.
That one is forceful preparation. But if we have planned, I mean, you will never know. You can ask around like, hey, how to be a parent. They will tell you this and that. But when you face it, it's a whole different agenda, you know. It's like you can say like, oh, I go to, war is stressful, but I bet I can take a gun and do a good job. But you actually go on the field, you'll be like, shit, it's a different feeling. So the mentality, you can't really be prepared, but there are ways to strengthen your mentality during raising a kid.
And you know what's interesting? Why the conversation is actually quite complicated is this. So on one hand, you can analyze that you're messed up and you have not much going on for you in life and all that. But then the flip side is, to use a chicken and egg example, sometimes you become mentally prepared when you have the kid.
Yes,
You suddenly make more money because of the kid. So you have to ask yourself, right? If you are messed up as a person and you feel like, you have a traumatic life and you're afraid of all that, you have to ask yourself, do you want to change? Because if the answer is yes, there is probably no more powerful motivation
than a kid
in life outside of perhaps religion than a kid. If you have that kid and then you're like, no, I got to get my act together, I need to stop taking drugs, I need to triple my income, quadruple my income, I need to treat women right as a guy, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's not, it's more complicated than that. And I sit in the camp of exactly that. Like, it sounds selfish, but having a kid, a defenseless kid who knows nothing, who's every day there's a threat that he might die, and you being responsible for that kid or 2 kids or 3 kids, however, will up the game.
Correct.
So again, it goes back to what kind of human being you want. If you want to be a hermit and say, no, I'll be useless for the rest of my life, fine, don't have kids. Right? Even I might even go as far as to say, like, neuter yourself. Right? If you really like say, no, this is it. But if this is not it, and you feel like there's a mark to make in the world, then get a kid.
I mean, if that is the angle, okay. But I would say that the angle that raising a kid is so expensive is not okay lah. I don't think that's a good reasoning not to raise a kid.
Because most people who are married earn more.
I agree.
Why?
Because you're married.
Because you're married.
Yeah, you need to earn more.
I have to.
So like, what's her name again?
Le En.
I mean, if it's expensive, maybe you're just not doing the right thing lah.
Yeah. I think the worst reason to not get married is to say that, like, I have this lifestyle that I want to travel, I want to enjoy and all that, right? Therefore, I don't want to have kids. I think that is probably one of the worst reasons to have.
I like how we always go back to a cause. Okay, all right.
No,
Let's
but it's
move
not. It's linked. It's linked to motivation and mentality as well, I would say.
Okay, let's move on to some part where we will, the segment where we will potentially get cancelled. Just so you know, we're going to be talking about how having a kid will change a female's body, their biology, and according to Le En, your nipples will get longer, you have stretch marks,
what?
you have a lot of stuff that will go through in women's body. And the only reason why we're talking about this part is because we are going over with what her content is.
All right.
Okay, so she was saying that how potential parents, she was saying that how a lot of things that are not being said when it comes to having a kid, there's the bodily changes that women go through after having children. Now, since we are not women, but we are still doing this podcast,
And we are still part of the process.
So what's your take? What's your opinion?
Okay lah. I don't want to dwell a lot in this because of biology, and I'm not a woman lah. Okay, but I have never seen a grandmother say, "Fuck, I shouldn't have given birth at the age of 65." I see her feeding the grandkid and being very happy.
Hey, this I agree.
Coming in when the grandkids come in. That is what I'm seeing. Maybe there'll be 1 out of 100, like goddamn, but I've never seen a grandma being upset, raising her kid because her nipples became longer and she have stretch marks.
Imagine this, right? Just on your point, imagine seeing a grandmother saying she hates kids. There's just something off about that image.
It's gone, bro.
It's off, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know how to describe it.
I can't even think of that image, you know.
Every grandma is like, have you eaten?
Yeah, you know, I have never seen one. And if you want to say that it's because your nipples become longer and your stretch mark becomes, you have a stretch mark in your body, you should marry yourself. Because clearly you love yourself so much more to do what biology or God or...
I think they're one step ahead, man. They love themselves.
You know, so if you believe religion, God has created you for a purpose. If you're the stars and moon, the atom exploded, you know.
But you're able to say this confidently because you don't go through change. So
I don't go through change, but I see the change.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, you're losing also, right, in a way, right?
Yeah.
Your wife
I see the change.
transforms, right?
You know, I am part of the change. I am part of the process.
But the sacrifice is not the same. You are not enduring that change.
Okay, then we say okay.
It's like, what if your penis gets shorter because you're giving birth to a kid?
I'm okay.
Okay, but to your point,
Yeah.
you for the guy side, he can easily say, because when women give birth, they're more vulnerable, they probably can't work as much, things like that. And to the guy side, he can easily say, well, because of this kid and because I have a responsibility to raise him, I can't spend more money on
This
my
and
fun
that.
stuff.
I can't buy PS5 anymore. I need to buy cooking utensils, whatever.
I can't buy Pokemon cards, whatever it is.
Okay, all right.
So
Of course,
there's some sacrifice.
But
involved.
the damage is permanent, because the damage is body. Like, we won't
Yeah.
say damage, the change. You're giving birth. It's not like a defect, okay?
Yeah.
No. It's like when you go through a bodily change, right? It's a different feeling of letting go certain lifestyles, sacrificing lifestyles.
I want to emphasize on this, right? Although there are changes in the body of the females, all right, those changes can be worked on. All right? Like there are moms out there.
Let's talk about the point that she made.
Long
Your
nipples.
yeah.
I'm sorry about long nipples. I don't know what you can do about long nipples.
So then it makes your point invalid before you're about to make it.
But how does the long nipples affect you? You're wearing a bra, nobody can see your nipple. Then you go back home like, oh shit, I have a long nipple. Okay, fine by me lah. All right, you let your kid you let your kid suck your nipple lah. Okay, all right. It's for him to grow, and coincidentally your nipples grow as well. Okay, it's the process.
I don't.
Okay, it's the process. I can't relate. I can't relate. All right. If you're watching this, if you hate my comment, stop watching. Okay. I cannot relate.
The hole is quite big already.
I cannot relate. But if your nipple become long because of the process and you find that a problem, send your kid for adoption. Okay? No, because you see, you are arguing, oh, my nipple become long. Then you send your kid for adoption. If your nipple is so much more
I just wanna
important,
say-
if your nipple is so much more important, you send your kid for
Wait,
adoption.
I just want to say, I'm the one that's proposing that counter argument. So no female said whatever you just said that they said.
I'm just saying,
Wait,
man.
but didn't she say that the nipple comment?
Yeah. But then he adds a layer to it. Which he didn't-
I mean, if that is part of like, oh, you know, then just don't. Then use a bottle.
Use a what?
A bottle. No, you can
I
fit.
don't think that's their concern.
Okay. Just
I don't think that's
really
their
know.
concern.
you know, I know a lot of people watching this might be.
But I get your point, but I just don't understand the add-ons that you just
I don't know.
mentioned.
Suddenly, a whole.
No, but I get your point. No, I mean, just okay. I think I don't think I share that much difference in opinion as him. Maybe the way he explained is.
Quite
I will
intense.
depart from that. Okay? No. But I think the question here, I'll put it this way, okay, right? No doubt it will change. Okay, so let's say for a fact that your body will change and you will look worse, right? In
Not
your,
worse
in your,
lah,
in your
but-
view, in your eyes, okay?
Correct.
In your eyes, you look worse and you maybe feel a little bit less confident, feel less sexy, whatever it is. Okay, let's assume. By the way, it is not a foregone conclusion. There are literally personal trainers out there that specialize in postpartum
Correct.
recovery. You know, they train their abs so that, you know, their stomach becomes stronger, because when you give birth, you know, muscles become loose and things like that. But let's say that was the case. So the question before you as a lady, I guess, if I were in your position, is this. Which sacrifice do you prefer? Do you prefer
Long nipples.
maintaining your current body, which, by the way, will deteriorate as you grow old into your 70s, 80s, and presumably in your 90s, because if you are in the birth giving age today, there's a good chance you'll live beyond 80. Okay? Is that sacrifice? Is that something you don't want to sacrifice? Or the alternative, which is that you have a kid that if you raise properly, would potentially give you joy as you age into your 60s, 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
and perhaps give you grandchildren, which many women, especially at that age, really, really enjoy. So you have to say that I'm willing to sacrifice all of that. I'm willing to sacrifice potential 3-4 decades of loneliness because I want to maintain a good look over the next 20 years.
Very well articulated.
You know, one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to conversing about this topic is the joy of having a kid. Because I see kids, babies, toddlers growing up, you know, I still have a relationship with them for all my life. And the joy.
Wasn't John the one who said he didn't want a kid because of the hassle?
Yeah, he's the one. No,
Well, he's not here.
yeah, he's not here. But you know, if you see a kid growing up and you live vicariously through the kids, the milestones that they have, or even seeing simple things of like a kid watching a cartoon and saying back the words that they learn,
I feel happy.
that is one of the happiest, funnest part of having a kid. Now, of course, there are a lot of pain and sacrifices that come along with it. But a lot of people who talks about this topic, they don't think in the perspective of when you actually have a baby in your arm and the baby is looking at you and the baby is smiling back to you.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Most of them don't want to handle the process, but enjoy the results. You know? It's like, I don't want to wake up in the morning and do this, that, but I would love to see my kids smile, you know? It's the process that is a hindrance. Not a hindrance, like, it's troublesome, like, because you have to do all this extra stuff they have never done in your entire 30 life. And then suddenly you must do this. It's out of your comfort zone. Then you're like, shit. But after 20 years from that, then you cool. You know? You are fine. Then you will see the next 20 years, you'll be very happy. Provided that you raise your kids well and whatsoever, you know? So, correct lah. So that's why when I watched this video, right, I couldn't agree to what she's saying lah. Like, number one, having kids is so expensive. And then stream more lah, so you can have a kid, you know?
You know, she'll probably be saying that, and then after that she'll say, I need to buy a more expensive
We
camera.
need to clip it
or what.
and we need to post it on TikTok and tag her.
I'm just going to say again, right? If you all watch until here, if you feel very disturbed by the comments, that's on you. Because we have already given you guys...
Is your problem.
we've already given you guys a disclaimer, okay? And the thing about this, right? Why a lot of people can't have a conversation like this is because of people commenting on their own personal belief. The only way we can talk about this issue is we really talk about it without people like, no, you have to talk about this through and flow without being very one-sided on your opinions. If not, means there will not be growth, not as a person, but as a nation as well. You know?
Right.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, we are going more than 30 minutes because this topic deserves more than 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you know?
true. But you know, I just want to summarize what he's saying, what I'm saying is, there is no penalty-less path. Every path has a penalty. And so the question is, which penalty do you want?
Correct.
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are watching this may have some things that they disagree with you, especially they can't physically be here to rebut your points. So
I love it. I would love if you guys really have a strong opinion about this. You just message us or comment. Come us. I would love to talk about you. I really love talking about this because it's something we often don't talk. And when we do, people straight away bash you. You cannot talk. You cannot have a progressive nation or individual people if you don't talk about this.
there you have
You
it.
know, and there must always be someone to go full left and full right and in the middle. Then you can see the whole entire picture, everything. I'm a middle person, bro. I'm cool. You know.
I have another better suggestion. If you guys have your thoughts, don't direct message us. Comment down in the comment section below because that would help this video.
Is there anything else she shared?
There are other things that she's shared, such as if you have a kid with a medical condition, but I think this topic is too spicy and we're hitting that 30 minutes
Quite
mark.
sensitive as
So
well,
if you guys like this episode and you would like to have a part 2, we might possibly invite somebody who is more authoritative or somebody who is more represented to talk about this issue.
Correct. I also want to say, so far, if you're commenting, you really need a female panel. I just want to say, they don't want to come.
Yeah.
Not because we don't have, they don't want to come. So if you comment why don't have, maybe you can come.
Yeah, that would be a good idea actually.
Yeah. I mean, if you quite brave to comment like that, then can brave enough to come, right? I'm sure you probably don't have a kid also, so you still look good, ma. Your nipples are not long. So, oh my god, I'm going too far now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Let me just wrap up this episode. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, please like this video, subscribe to this channel. We are also available on
Spotify as well.
And if you want to support the channel, you can go to Patreon.
Correct.
And of course, let us know your comments. And if you'd like to have somebody come up here to talk about this, have a second part, let us know as well. That's it for today. We will see you guys in the next episode.
Peace. Pretty good, pretty good.